can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. Through the silence. Through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. Through the silence. Through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. Through the silence. Through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. Through the silence. Through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence. I can hear your voice. I can hear you through the silence.
Call me up in the middle of the night, 'cause something doesn't feel right. No, we don't need to fight. I'm just trying to have a good time, yeah. Said it's lonely now when you're turning out the light. Said it's harder now to keep sight of everything you like about me. Just wanna have a good life. Torn at the seams, yeah, it's hard to believe that we made it this far. We were born in a dream, we've been lost out at sea, but together we are unbreakable. I called you up in the early morning light, 'cause something didn't sit right. I didn't wanna lie about it, but I stayed out after midnight. I said, I'm sorry, love, I don't ever wanna fight. Said I didn't mean to lose sight of everything you've done here for me, and I wanna share a good life. Torn at the seams, yeah, it's hard to believe that we made it this far. We were born in a dream, we've been lost out at sea, but together we are unbreakable. I'm never gonna let you down. I'm willing and I'm able. I'm never gonna drop the crown. Together we're unbreakable. Together we're unbreakable.
taste. Take off the edge, go ahead, get loose. It's there for the taking, you got nothing to lose. The DJ's done, but I've only just started. You stole my heart with your curvy dancing. I found the person I've been dying to meet. So cheers to dancing with your two left feet.
So join me, baby, let's have a night to remember. 'Cause I just want to be young forever. So join me, baby, let's have a night to remember. 'Cause I just want to be young
forever. Dance floor's waiting, go and get a taste. Take off the edge, go ahead, get loose. It's there for the taking, you got nothing to lose. The DJ's done, but I've only just started. You stole my heart with your curvy dancing. I found the person I've been dying to meet. So cheers to dancing with your two left feet.
So join me, babe, let's have a night to remember. 'Cause I just want to be young forever. So join me, babe, let's have a night to remember. 'Cause I just want to be young forever.
아프리카 TV 프레이업 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 2 코드 S The Coming Storm.
It's time for day 2. Can you hear me? Yeah. It is time. Okay, I can hear myself now. It's time for day 2 of the round of 4 here in the GSL Code S. After today, we will have cemented our finals. TY versus Stats. I imagine this is going to be a closer series. It has to be a closer series than what we had last time.
It would be impossible to not be closer, even if it's a 4-0. Because the 4-0 that we saw in the last one was like, it could have been a 9-0. It was so one-sided.
It was such a short day. We finished the entire show in literally an hour. Like that's how quick
Interviews and all.
A normal GSL takes about 3 hours, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. So that's pretty incredible that it was a smashing like that. But we do have a strong contender here in the finals. TY, of course, the defending GSL Code S champion of Season 1. The guy who has done the one of the craziest things ever in esports, casting the entire tournament and winning it, and he might do it again this season.
Yeah, it's a real possibility. I think that looking at how things are now, Rogue should be considered the favorite for a lot of reasons, but we will look at that when we get to the finals. As of right now, though, for today, TY against Stats, I mean, these two have met each other so many times. They've been teammates for years and years and years on 3 different teams now, with KT, Splice, and now Afrika. Well, what do you think? What do you think about this matchup? Who wins it?
I think it's going to be super close. I think it's a 4-3, maybe a 4-2. I have to lean towards TY just because he's looked so strong lately, but I do feel like we're seeing a resurgence here with Stats. It seems like he's winning, and he's also winning in the way that he used to win in the past.
That
a player like Stats will tend to blossom the latest, right? He's got the most conservative style of Protoss. He's very reactionary. Yeah. He kind of stops everything you're trying to do and then takes a lead and comes in with a closer. That's really hard to pull off.
Yes, it's incredibly difficult.
I mean, a lot of players, they're proxying, they're doing timings. Oh, let's go to the interview first, and then we'll talk more about it.
결승 한 자리를 차지한
The Zerg
가운데
has made it
남은
to the
한
finals,
자리는
and all that's
테란 아니면
left is to find
프로토스입니다.
the other
이번
contender who
시즌
will move to the
마지막
grand finals
테란과
of this
마지막
season's
프로토스의
GSL.
대결인데요.
And it is the battle
두
between the
선수
last
모두
Terran and the
차강
last
1경기와
Protoss this season.
마찬가지로 모두 우승자
So
출신입니다.
this will be
바로
a best of 7
만나볼게요.
format.
안녕하세요.
Let's have an interview. Hello,
안녕하세요.
TY. Hello, Stats.
네. 먼저 전태양 선수입니다.
First of all, TY.
우승자 징크스도 없이 2연속
You are the
타강에
defending
올라왔습니다.
champion,
이제
and you went to your
결승,
second
또
consecutive round of
우승까지
4.
좀 탐이 나실 것
So I'm
같은데요.
sure you're aiming at the trophy right now.
아무래도 조성주 선수가 4회 연속 우승을 한 만큼 저도
You know, Maru has made his 4th consecutive GSL championship. So I too want to be a little bit greedy.
계기로 2회 우승을 계속해서
So I do want
꿈꾸고
to
싶네요.
achieve the second consecutive GSL
4연속까지
trophy as well.
가겠다 말씀인데요. 자, 반면에 김대엽 선수는
On the other
2년
hand,
만에 돌아온
Stats came
사강입니다.
back after
김대엽 선수가
2 years
우승하신
to the round of 4.
GSL에서 프로토스 우승 자체가 없었어요.
And ever
이제
since you
김대엽
left,
선수의
Protoss
클래스가 또
hasn't been able to lift up the trophy. What do you think?
참 좀 아이러니하고 프로토스가 좀 결승은
Well, it's
많이
kind of
갔잖아요.
ironic.
네,
You know,
이상하게
the
좀
Protoss have made it to the
우승하고는
finals
좀
many
연이
times,
없어가지고
but they
우승을
haven't been
많이
able to win.
이번 시즌에는 그 프로토스의
So this
우승의
season,
판을 제가 풀고 싶네요.
I want to be the one
그렇군요.
that holds up the
전태양
trophy.
선수가 수많은 별명을 갖고
And
있지만
TY
최근
goes by
김대엽
many
선수의
nicknames.
인터뷰로 인해서 새로운 별명이 하나 더 추가가
And with
됐습니다.
Stats interview,
전태양. 마음에 드시나요?
additional nickname has been added.
게임적으로는 좋은
And
얘기니까
people are calling you
칭찬으로
Beyond TY.
생각하겠습니다.
So what do you think about that? I think it's a
그러니까요. 사실
compliment.
빌드 전략 잘 짜고 예상 못한 플레이로
Because you're spectacular build orders and your maneuvers during the game.
아,
I
네,
think that
진짜,
earned your nickname.
제가 할 수 있는 진짜 굉장한 칭찬이고.
Yeah, I think it's the best compliment I can give to a player.
근데 뭔가 변태양 이렇게 들으니까 뭔가 좀
But
재밌네요.
you know, calling TY
알고
Beyond
보니
TY is kind of funny in a
극찬이었다고
way.
합니다. 자, 두 선수가 사실 2017년 IEA 월드 챔피언십 결승에서 7전제 대결을 하고
And the two players actually played against each other in a best of 7
당시에도
in
정말
IEM.
치열했던
And at the time, it was a very fierce full set.
그때 우승하고 많은 게 참 바뀌지
And
않았어요.
TY was the winner at the time. So what changed after that?
제 최고의 황금기였던 것 같고
I mean, that was definitely the golden era for
그
me.
가장 제 전성기 시절에도 풀세트 갈 정도로 대엽이 형이랑 항상
And I
힘들었기
mean,
때문에
Stats is such a strong player. Like,
굉장히 좀
I
어려운
was in
경기가
prime
될
back
것
then,
같다는
and he
생각이
went
많이
up against
듭니다.
me in a full set.
김대엽 선수도 바뀐 게 있을까요?
So Stats, what changed for you after that?
그때 이후로 태양에만 만나면은
Well, after that,
제가 숨도 못 쉬고 계속
every time I meet TY, you know, I felt like I was being
그래서
asphyxiated. I
이번에는
couldn't breathe.
한번 꼭 이기고 싶은데.
So this time I really want to beat him.
열심히 했습니다.
So that's why I prepared really
그
well.
이후로 숨도 못 쉬고 있다. 오늘 승부도 쉽지 않을 것
I mean,
같은데요.
today's match is definitely going to be really fierce as well.
마지막으로 한 마디씩
So before we
나눠보겠습니다.
get into the game,
먼저 김대엽 선수.
could you guys say anything to each other?
일단 좀 4강에서 좀 태양이를 이렇게 만나가지고 좀
meeting TY in the round of 4.
좀 제가 아끼는 동생이고 그래서
I mean,
좀 아쉽긴 하지만
He's a guy I really like.
그래도
We're close to each other.
중에 이긴 사람이 결승 올라가서
But I hope one of us gets to beat Rogue in the finals and hold the
아끼는
trophy.
동생이지만 내가 올라가서 이병렬 무찌르겠다는 얘기거든요. 화답해주세요.
Alright, TY.
확실히 근데 병렬이를 잡기에는 프로토스보단 테란이 훨씬 더
I mean, to beat Rogue, I think it's better that our Terran player goes up.
연습도 많이 하고 정말
Since I prepare really well, I like stats a lot, but today I don't want to yield this final spot. So I'm gonna try my best to win another season.
예전에도 같은 팀이었고 현재에도
And the
같은
two players
팀에서
were in the
오랫동안
same team
포팅목이
before, and now
되어주고
they're
있는
still in the same
두
team.
선수죠. 두 선수의 4강 대결
So let's have the
지금부터
round of 4 battle kick
시작하겠습니다.
off now.
Can you see me shaking? Hear the sound of my heart breaking. Bless the soul that's aching, hoping I survive.
All right, we're gonna hop into this best of 7. This is a really exciting series. These two players.
Yeah.
My memory of these two will always be that a few years back, the finals where TY barely pulled through in a 4-3 victory. That was really incredible.
That was a great series.
That was one of my favorite finals of all time. I think one of our best casts, to be honest. And here they are again. These guys make for really interesting games. They're definitely thinking players.
Sure.
Innovators of their own race. Now, Stats has really been in the background for a little while, to be honest now. Last year or two. He's been overshadowed. TY seems to be hitting his prime again.
Yeah.
But let's see if Stats can't come up with something. I think Stats is one of the players who's, I think, comparable to TY as far as planning goes, as far as strategic thinking goes. I think TY has a bit more range.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I think TY is more willing to take risks and has slightly better randomization of build orders in a best of 7s.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Stats, on the other hand, look, he definitely has a way of playing the game. But he's the very best at that way of playing the game.
He is.
You know, I don't know anybody who's a better orthodox, slower-paced Protoss at Stats.
You are certainly correct on that, sir.
And I think that, you know, the changes we've had in StarCraft, we've waited long enough. You know, Stats, he always seems to be a little bit late to the party.
Yeah.
So let's see how he does.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say as well, but I think we're starting the game tasteless.
Yes, it'll be on Pillars of Gold for game number 1. Again, this is a best of 7. The winner goes on to face off against Rogue. Let's start our best of 7 now.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해 볼까? 아프리카 프렉스 TY 전태양. 아프리카 프렉스 스태츠 김대영.
All right. Let me say what my prediction is here.
Yes, please.
I think TY is going to win this, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. Now, the map score I have no idea on, but even if it's like a 4-3, I think it'll be a 4-3 where TY handily wins 3 games, barely loses 3 games, and then wins a close game, right? So
okay, I could see that.
That kind of one-sided where it's like, yeah, I don't care about the map score, but I think what we're going to see is that TY is a good match against Stats.
You know, one thing about Stats is that a lot
it's 18-9 in Legacy of the Void between them in TY's favor, which doesn't actually surprise me all that much. Like, I didn't know that coming in, but I want to say why this is. I think TY is a great matchup against Stats because you have to, like, the thing is, we put people into categories like, oh, well, these guys are late game players, or these guys are macro players, or these guys are defensive. But the thing is, you can always divide it more and more and more, okay? And they're both kind of macro players, and both players that tend towards late game. But Stats is a defensive macro player. TY is a strategic macro player. So the difference there is actually quite large. Stats will gobble up aggressive players because they will throw themselves into him, and he will defend everything they have and be ahead in that way. TY is a thinking player, so he's a player that can look at that defensive strategy and just go around it. Either play more greedy, not waste any early attacks, that type of thing. So I think as long as TY does not play like he did against Parting, he should be good in this series. He should be able to take it down handily. Now, as I say that, he's sitting here on 1 base, going Hellions and going Starport, which I think is not the right way to play against Stats, and is adding volatility into it in a place that he doesn't need the volatility.
By the way, the pylon is just now scouted. This is a pretty inconvenient moment here for the Protoss. He's going to try to go ahead and unpower this thing before anything can come out. Now, the Adept is going to come in here and try to buy some time, but losing the power over here on the pylon is disastrous right now, considering the investment that was put in here. The Adepts, by the way, are going to try to just have a fight over... Okay, hold on. The probe is going to come in here.
This is kind of hilarious. He's trying to get the pylon again.
Does he actually get it? I think that actually zones it out.
Yeah.
This may be... Yeah, I do not know that you can recover from this as Stats. I mean, he's lost so much time, so much momentum. The Oracle's still not finished, but it hasn't been sent out. Now, TY tactically, by the way, handled that perfectly, using the surface area of the Stargate and the lack of range of the Adepts to get up behind the Stargate and still hit the pylon. That's a very circumstantial moment in the game, but he utilized it perfectly. And now there's going to be a drop back home. And I mean, so far, this is just perfect play from TY.
Yeah, fantastically done there, disabling that. Now, an instant recall from Stats. Oh my God. Oh, and that was pretty darn good. 4 probe kills.
I thought they might get away just in the nick of time, but instead, a lot of damage being absorbed over there.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, it's kind of funny. TY is doing so much damage here. He's killed the units. He has killed the battery.
There's actually not enough surface area here to kill these Marines until this medevac runs out of energy.
Yeah.
And it finally does that. And 11 probes now. I mean, this is...
I mean, the Oracle's getting a little bit, but it's going to run out of energy before it can even do as much damage as what was just done to him.
Oracle now taking some damage. TY going to send his SCVs back, and it looks like he wants to push out with the tanks and the Marines. I don't know if he wants to commit and dive on the expansion here. It seems like he might barely have enough. You got to be careful, though, because both players are operating off of very little here. So any miss micro, losing any units at all can become, a mess pretty quickly.
Sure. Well, right now it's just the tiniest army supply you ever did see here for Stats. He's got 4 Stalkers against just all this stuff that TY has. There's no chance of holding.
Yeah, Stalkers can do okay against just Marines, but with tanks present here as well. These aren't Blink Stalkers, by the way, so I mean, he could just roam through here, and I think this should be the killing blow here. I think we're going to see, in what was a pretty insane game to start things off, a pretty quick ending here.
Oh yeah, and look at this. The Liberator resets up as well. He's going to just kill off all these stalkers.
TY is absolutely crushing. I mean, this is the handling of this, and every situation here was unique, by the way. He spots the pylon. He decides, okay, I think I barely have enough. Takes out the pylon with great positional play, then takes the pylon out again. So Stats and kind of this sunken cost fallacy moment was way too committed to trying to get the Oracle out and couldn't get it out in time. And then because he sent the depths out and tried to defend in the way that he did, there was another opportunity that TY that had the insight to identify, comes in there, drops, gets in a position, knew exactly in the micro, in a way it seemed that Stats didn't, that he could put Marines here and the probes will not kill them. And from there, it was an easy 1-2 punch to victory. So TY takes it, impressively so. I don't know if we're going to have a game that looks like that. That seemed to be a very, 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000.
Between these two,
Between these two, yeah. So, again, let's see what else Stats has. Eternal Empire is where game number 2 will happen.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해 볼까? 아프리카 프렉스 TY 전태양. 아프리카 프렉스 스태츠 김대영.
So, we talked about this, but it is still so important to say, and I want to go off of what you were saying a little bit at the start of game 1 before the action really picked up. Stats sets up everything to stop what you're doing and then comes in with a very straightforward closer. Stats is almost like a Dark Souls character that's going to parry the boss's attack. Once you parry it, then you come in, you get the punish, you do all the damage, you can win the game. The problem with TY is it's hard to map out what his attacks are going to be and how to have the right timing to actually get that parry off, to get that deflection off, to do it right. I mean, TY seems to have the planning down so well. And also, with TY, it's not just out-of-game planning, and I think it's a great example of it is the last game we just saw. He just knows in that exact moment, in all the randomness and all the chaos of the game, identifying a proxied Stargate in that moment with the build that he's doing and whatever plans he had, and the plans he had in that game were not to find the proxy and kill the pylon. He just crossed paths with it, said, okay, made the right calculations, came down there, took the fight, knew that he could then take the second fight with the Adepts and the probe. Knew then that he would not be able to take the third fight, backed off. Right? I mean, his handling of all the nuance of the game is so self-evident, and it's one of the reasons why he's so clean in his takedowns of his opponents.
Yeah, it's all good analysis there, but I also want to point out, right, that was off style for Stats. He did a more aggressive play, a riskier play. And this is part of the reason why Stats gets a lot of second places is because of his style. It gives him a stability few players generally have. As we mentioned, sometimes when the meta gets shifted up, it takes them a while to recover from that. But the very best players can play around someone playing defensively, right? Stats, if you're playing defensively, you're basically like just returning, you're playing like volley tennis or something, right? You're just like returning all the balls and waiting for them to screw up, right? And that's when you kill. And the thing is, you can't really do that against TY. He's too smart, he's too good. The very best players in the world don't lose to him too often, right? Like he's one of the guys that beats the other second best players in the world, the other second placers to win championships, and then loses to the real champions. Which, of course, any championship is a real championship. I think that people should know what I mean here, right? Someone like a Rogue or a Cyril or a Maru, right, is in that championship match going to do a good job. But here, like, we saw that he already played a little bit off-brand, but here he is. He's going back into his own stuff.
Well, I think it was an understandable move for him to open up like that in a best of 7. I think, again, he probably wanted to mask his more conservative style, and I think begin the game throwing out the idea of, look, I am willing to do this. I have planned aggression. I have planned proxy play. But, of course, it got shut down so easily by TY.
It really did. Now, here it looks like the parting build. He's going up to 4 gates with his blink in a robo, but he's adding 2 gases here, and he's also getting Colossus tech. So this is not exactly what we saw parting doing, which is very interesting because I'm not truly sure what it is. Oh, okay, he cancels the gate. That makes a lot more sense.
I think he was just trying to seal himself off for a little bit.
And that makes sense.
We saw TY have a lot of success with Hellions coming in and killing probes before. So I think, you know, again, Stats being the conservative player he is, just says, all right, let's just shut this option out for a little bit.
Now,
the Observer's going to get here, and then he'll have a better idea of what's going on in this game.
Now, just kind of generally speaking here, right? Like, this is much more the style Stats normally plays, right? He's got Blink, he's going up to Colossus Tech, and then a 3rd Nexus.
Right.
This is so incredibly safe. There has been no option for TY to get any damage done or anything like that. TY, though, I mean, he's playing a pretty standard, normal game. I think that it gets very complicated how to kill a player like Stats in this type of situation because he's so robust, right? So it comes down to, like, are you trying to hit something big mid-game because he wasn't greedy enough like a player like Zest? Or are you going to try to go into a longer game by being a little bit more greedy yourself? Those are kind of the 2 ways to play against him.
The Observer's going to swim. Oh, actually gets shot down there because of the presence of the Raven, but did get a peek at exactly the kind of momentum that is trying to be built up here by TY. So far, though, for Stats, I think this game has gone pretty smoothly.
Sick Colossus rally.
Yeah, it's going to go right to where that Observer is and get shot by the Widow Mine.
That would be too funny.
Yeah, he'll eventually catch that and turn around.
We hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
That is not a fun way to lose the game as your first Colossus walks across the map and dies. Because you do not want, it's not like he wants it out there with those 4 Stalkers, guys. That is not what's happening. Or it is.
Ding, again, Arto says.
That's shocking that he wants to do that right now. I mean, we can just disable that and go kill everything. I guess once Stim is done is when you'd want to do that, though. All right, well, he shaves off a few Marines. Foolish me. Of course he wanted to rally the first Colossus to fight with 4 Stalkers against TY right now.
Extended Thermal Lance is about to finish. And, you know, with a 3rd base up here for Stats, already this game is looking like the kind of game that Stats seems to thrive in. But let's take our time here and see also how TY handles this. I mean, again, as we talk about Stats being defensive and good in late game, it's not like TY can't play that and hasn't won with that.
He definitely can play those bigger games.
Sure.
Right? It's just, how are you going to get there? What are you doing with it? Because you got to be careful, right? Stats is just kind of crossing his T's, dotting his I's and everything. And TY, he's making a strong army right now. Okay, this is kind of exactly what I want to see. He's actually producing Liberators already 2 at a time now. And I think that specifically is something that's always been pretty good against Stats. He's not particularly good against Liberators specifically.
Actually, that's a good point. He does seem to suffer against those.
Yeah. He does have his double Forge going, though. He's getting into a double Robo. He's getting Templar Tech, 4th base.
He's also keeping the army on the outside here to make sure that there's a very light contain here on the Terran. Terran is powering up still on 3 bases. The 2nd Robo, as you were saying, inbound here. And I think when Stats gets that 2nd Robo up, he's going to be a lot more comfortable in this game overall.
Sure.
I think that if Stats can handle his Robo Tech really well, you can see it, for instance, over here with the Warp Prism, too. He's setting up for a counterattack option here.
He does have that speed, so he can get over missile turrets very, very easily.
Yeah, he can ignore things like that Liberator over there as well. Looks like the Vikings are going to come in here to try to intercept.
Oh, is he going to disable? He does disable it, and it goes down. Only a couple Zealots getting out, but this was quite good for TY.
But I think it's not that bad for Stats either. I think
not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's fine. And now we're going to have Disruptors come out here. But again, with TY's army about to go drop over here, he might be able to, for instance, like bait out a recall in the wrong spot and then hit somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe.
It seems like that's what these Liberators are beginning to try to set up over here.
Well, he has multiple Liberators out, and he has these 4 medevacs that just boosted out and took over a watchtower. And look at this, he's going to pick off some stray units.
Oh, wow. Taking out the Archon for free is pretty huge.
Yeah, very nice kill indeed. Finally, Stats does clear up that Liberator. And just kind of shaving off the edges of Stats' army. You can see quite a big difference in army supply right now.
Okay, the Terran push is coming. Now the army supply is a little bit inferior, but when the Disruptors get here, it's going to be a lot more about position. But with the SCVs pulled, now hold on, the Disruptor could negate this. Oh, nice disable there.
That was a huge second Disruptor
that
shot,
disable
though.
might just win TY the game.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't see any Disruptors here, yeah.
Now, he's going to lose his 4th no matter what. You've got to give that one up. But he's going to attack in as his 4th is under attack. This is probably the best moment here for Stats. He has a couple Archons as well to help out against his bio.
Great Disruptor shot there. The Vikings slowly whittling down the Colossi, but not before the infantry is thinned out over here on the ground for TY.
Oh, and it looks like Stats going to be able to shut that down.
Okay, so that was a Stats win. That was exactly how Stats wins. That was the Dark Souls parry.
Yeah, it really was.
I swear I heard the Dark Souls parry sound effect right when he did it. Don't.
I wouldn't know what that sounds like, unfortunately. I never parry. I just roll around and then hit him from a different angle.
I saw your stream when you played it, yeah. Stats does not just roll around on the ground over and over and takes weak shots at the enemy. He stays back, he parries, and he stabs them in their black hearts.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was well done from Stats. I'm a little bit surprised that this is the way that TY is planning to play so far, because Game 1 was kind of an aggressive 1-base play, which Stats is generally good against. And Game 2 was a 3-base all-in, which Stats is generally good against.
Some of these games look like the projections of the previous TVPs we saw from TY, actually. There's moving out with Hellions and trying to get some engagements.
Parting is the opposite of Stats.
Right.
They are literally opposites, so you should not play the same against both of them. If you could play the same against both of them, this would be an RT game, not an RTS game, because there would be no strategy, because you only have one strategy
game?
Yeah, well, is there strategy in the game? It's like, okay, so if 2 people play completely differently, are you supposed to play the same against them?
Real-time game. Almost all games are real-time, Artosis. That's like... It's like at least 80% of games.
Yeah, and most of them have no strategy too, right? Or very weak strategy.
I'll give you that.
Which is what it feels like right now looking at TY's play.
We'll be right back.
You ready to take off? I can't wait for you now that I feel it. I gotta dance to the beat that I'm hearing. You want me to be still, watch the ceiling. You can't stop me. You ready to take off? I can't wait for you now that I feel it. I gotta dance to the beat that I'm hearing. You want me to be still, watch the ceiling. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. You gotta pull me up, You can't stop me.
Make no mistake, war is coming.
Nice work. Maybe you should join me on a mission sometime.
Hell, it's about time.
Mod GG, more skill.
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Shooter, and I am a designer on the StarCraft 2 team. Both StarCraft 2 and GSL turned 10 this year, and during those 10 years, there have been so many incredible moments and memories forged on the GSL stage. As somebody who has spent way too many nights staying up until 3 or 4 or even 5 in the morning trying to catch those moments, it is my absolute pleasure and honor that on behalf of the StarCraft 2 development team, I get to congratulate GSL on their 10th anniversary. Thank you so much for supporting, playing, and loving this game as much as we do. And we so look forward to all of the incredible moments still to come. Congratulations.
Semi-finals. TY. Stitch.
Welcome back, everybody. We're tied up 1-1. You know, we were mentioning before we went to break that it's interesting to see that TY's playing the way that he is, because it seems almost as if it plays into the style of stats a little bit here.
Both games. And yeah, he won game 1. But, guy in the chat, because you said that, I can tell you don't know anything about StarCraft, because Stats played off of his normal style and then played his normal style game too. If he had played his normal style both games, we'd be sitting at 2-0 Stats right now, because he's not losing to aggression. That is not how you beat Stats.
I'm curious to see if Stats is just going to lean in more to his conservative style here in Game 3. He will have to mix it up at some point in time again here, randomize his play. But before we talk about any more of that, there is an event here for our finals, guys. Since we cannot have an audience, obviously due to COVID-19, send us your chirple. Send us signs that you could have or would have made if you could have been down here, and we will be displaying those for the event. We did this already before, and it was hilarious. You guys had some really funny, cool signs, some great artwork as well.
Yeah, please send those in, guys. They're all due by Wednesday, so yeah, do it.
So going into this, it is evened out. I am really shocked that TY went for one specific timing. Free base, pulling SCVs, disabling the disruptor. It looked like it might almost work. But then again, it's Stats. That's what he stops.
Yeah.
When Terrence pull the SCVs and try to go into a timing against Stats, that's almost always a win for him.
Attacking him is not the way to win. Like, play a little bit more greedy against him, play very tech-heavy against him, things like that, because he's kind of hedging his bets against everything that can kill him all game, and as soon as you try them, that's where he gets ahead, and that's how he can win.
Map number 3 should be, as usual for this map, a pretty unique game that won't resemble any of our other games. It's going to be Golden Wall. A lot of different ways to approach this and see what a TVP with these two players looks like, and that game's loaded up now.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해볼까?
Oh, great. Great opening here from TY. Okay. I think we're going to skip the player intros here. So what's funny about this idea, I was just saying before we started, you know, this map, makes for games that are completely unique to any of the other maps, because there's so many different features on it. But what TY is doing is a build you can do on actually any map. One would imagine that you would save this build for one of the other maps if you thought it was going to be good, but why not bring it out on a map where there's so many other possible strategies that can be used? This one's pretty milquetoast. It's pretty vanilla. It's a good cheese.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And I think this might end up working. Is he going to get the wall off in time?
It might work, and he'll definitely get it off in time, because if you don't, you lose.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole thing behind this build, is you need your opponent not to know. But as the probe gets up here and sees the depot, that is an alarm in and of itself. It's just you have to figure out which alarm this is. Are they going for some sort of tech all-in? Is there something on the map? Are they just going to expand behind, hoping you play more defensively? That's the question.
So, Stats is aware of the possibility of this rush. This isn't a total secret to him. This is in the meta. This is a known thing, but I think the map could throw Stats off a little bit. I think you see this, you're thinking about the lower platform.
Yeah, you could be thinking about that. He's actually checking some other locations that proxies could be at.
Yeah.
He's not going to find it because it's really far away. So what TY is doing here, it's powerful, it's risky, but look, he is eventually going to scout it.
Will this Marine end up shooting the probe as it goes by the scout path? They won't see it.
I don't think it'll go close enough to the scout path to do that, but he's going to go up the ramp. Will he see that there, though? He's going around this way?
Yeah, he's not gonna know.
Yeah.
TY has placed this perfectly in the blind spot of the scouting path.
Well, the location, this is the whole meta of proxying anyways. That location is so bad that it won't get scouted, which is what makes it good. But look at this, the Adept staying at home. That is a huge nod towards Stats possibly holding this. If the Adept is across the map, I mean, you're just not even going to have anything when it comes, right?
Now, again, scouting this all here doesn't... I mean, sure, Terran might be confident that there's nothing in the middle of the map right now, which there is, but again, the lower platform here, I think, acts as a real red herring, where the Protoss is already assembling a defensive plan against some type of attack that is not this one that's coming here now. This is a battering ram attack. SCVs pulled a huge amount of Marines against a sentry that now doesn't even have any energy.
Okay, he sees 4 Marines, and he's going to see the SCVs, I think.
Yep.
There he goes.
There
okay, that gives him a little bit of time to react here. Does he have the overcharge ready? That overcharge is going to be absolutely crucial here, and there it is. He does, in fact, have it. This is buying him a lot of time right now, but with this many SCVs coming in, it's going to be a lot of DPS.
Okay, he goes right on top of the battery, takes that out. He could go for the pylon, or instead goes up towards the ramp, trying to close this out before a force field's available. Only 27 energy on the sentry. The bunker goes down.
Oh my God, he's gonna pull more than just this. His overcharge is already used.
The pylon!
Oh man.
Shuts out all power inside the main base. Probes come down and are massacred. And I think there is just no way here for Stats to recover. TY, with brilliant strategic planning, is going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, well executed here from TY. Stats just couldn't find it, and he really tried to find it.
Yep.
He really tried. There was almost no area it could have been in except exactly where it was without Stats scouting it. So, great hiding from TY, and it brings him a victory.
Yeah, the further away those barracks are, the less momentum the rush has. But if the player scouts everywhere and then goes back home and doesn't see it, you know, you don't need the momentum as much as you need the element of surprise.
That is 100% true.
The surprise is there. That hallucinated Phoenix that was scouting just for the final confirm, that bought Stats maybe 3.5, maybe 4 seconds of time. That's not enough.
Yeah, and in fact, it would have even been better if he hadn't cast it, because then he could have had 2 force fields on his ramp.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's some rough stuff there for Stats, but that was good planning from TY. That's one of those crazy all-ins that you mix in, and you just pick up a victory.
I think that was the least predictable map to do that all-in on. I think that is really showing the brilliance here of TY.
Sure.
The map made it much more confusing that basic all-in was coming his way. We're going to Deathera for game 4, and that's loaded up. TY versus Stats continues on.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해 볼까? 아프리카 프렉스 TY 전태양. 아프리카 프렉스 스태츠 김대영.
okay. TY, again, excellent planning there. But we still don't have a game from TY where he's won in a long game. There's been a lot of tactical brilliance and planning brilliance here from TY. But, well, you know, we don't have a lot to work off of here. But stats in Game 2 really did show that if he can just get into the game that he wants to play and basically play the waiting game, the scouting game, the counter game, he can win.
TY played a very aggressive, very quick all-in on map 3. And I think that no matter what either player has as a style, except for Bit by Bit Prime, who literally only did proxy barracks for his entire pro career. But anything other than that, a mix in like what TY did there, I think is always a valid thing to put into a series, especially something like a best of 7. But again, looking at those first 2 games, I'm still undecided as to who's playing better for this series, right? TY leads 2-1, sure. But I feel like the third game is where he really showed that good planning. We haven't seen it other than that yet.
So, the Nexus comes down now. Both players going for fast expanding builds. And I'm really glad, by the way, that this is looking like a close series so far. I know that the 2 losses from Stats were pretty... I mean, he got flipped pretty hard.
Yeah, he just got flipped immediately. It was like a judo throw. He went at him and got thrown, and that was it.
Yeah. But,
landed on his neck.
But I think that was such good reaction and planning from TY. I think we'll probably still have a close series. By the way, the Twilight Council starts now for Stats. He might just go for 2 more gates and, you know, just take a third eventually here, get the Robo out.
Yeah, that's generally how he plays, right? And that was how he played on the game that he won. That's how he plays most of the games he wins. But look at what TY is doing. Directly into 3rd command center. This is the type of play you want to use against Stats. Because the odds of Stats doing, for instance, Parting's 4-gate all in, you know, it's not that high. The Parting 4-gate blink attack, it's like he's not going to be that well versed in it. So something like this quick 3rd command center, this is much closer to the type of play you want to use against Stats. Because if he's playing defensively at all, when his observer gets there and sees that you have a 3rd command center, can he punish it? No, it's already too late. You already got away with it.
Yeah, it's almost like you scout to see that you're behind.
Exactly, exactly.
But Blink is coming. And I think that for all the players that we have, that we've ever had in StarCraft 2, I feel like Stats is still going to be okay.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He's not going to die anytime soon.
As long as he can, like, how do I say, like, run the clock, you know, as long as he's not losing anything critical, he's probably fine.
Well, yeah, with Stats, that's kind of the funny thing, right? Because he's basically waiting for you to screw up. He's not going to screw up. And the thing is, the game gets so complex the later you get into the game.
Yes.
And he's there more than other players. So he actually has a lot of experience in those situations where even if a player stays even with him for a long time or has a slight edge, they'll make an incorrect army movement, and then Stats will just pick up a victory, right?
Yeah.
So that's what his power is. But the thing is, TY is like the guy that you don't expect to see that happen from.
Yeah. Taking down Stats is like hunting a woolly mammoth, Artosis. He's big, he's scary.
He was extinct for a long time till we cloned him this year.
That's right. Tried to make a park out of him, but it was a big mistake. And no, look, I mean, I think that it's Stats is a scary conservative macro player. And even if he's playing from a position of being behind for like 80% of the game, he can still hang on and then win a fight and then come out on top.
Yeah, so right now he went into Colossus Tech again, into the 3rd base, into a Forge. He sees what TY is doing. It doesn't really alter. I think the Forge might be just slightly quicker because he scouted the command, but I'm not 100% sure on that compared to Game 2. But yeah, it's he's just kind of playing his macro game here. And TY, of course, doing the same, but he does have that quicker 3rd command. He's going to want to land that as soon as he feels able.
And this phase of the game, Terran basically just stays back, trying to power up. There's a very, very light contain here. By the way, there's that Colossus again going across the map.
He clearly means to do it. I think what he's looking for is just what we saw in Eternal Empire, where you just shave off a few units while you walk back. He got that Observer Scout off, so I guess he knows, right? Like, it's not like he has Stim yet. Because I think if you walk across the map with this and your opponent has Stim, it's a terrible move. But if they don't have Stim, you can't really catch it, right?
It seems like he just knows they won't have Stim as well.
Yeah. Well, with this build, you definitely know that Stim is not quite ready.
So the tanks are coming forward here. And yeah, there it is. You just shave off a few Marines.
Yeah. Gets one extra Marine. Walks away.
Yeah. We'll take it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, you know, so much I think of being one of these defensive players is coming out with small wins over and over again.
Yeah.
So it almost makes sense. The stats basically says, I know that I can come across there. Now, what's funny about this is that it seems like TY also knew that the Stalkers and Colossi are going to be outside of his base here, so he knew he could send the Raven in here in this game and chuck down the auto turrets and actually get some kills and get some damage off and be fine.
That is totally it. Totally it. So you see he is reacting a bit. Stats, once again, with very quick prism speed. I like that. I like that little add-in that he's done to this. Like, we've seen this type of style a lot, but normally not with prism speed this quickly.
It makes sense, because I think after the initial pokes from the Stalkers and the Colossus, you're mostly staying back. So you should be able to defend, but you need something like a Speed Warp Prism that can jettison its way into the main base and cause a real threat. The Speed Warp Prism basically can't be stopped unless you really know exactly where it's going to come.
You need double turret to have a chance to stop it. One turret doesn't do anything.
Right away.
Yeah. And TY stopped it pretty quickly last game. You know, if you have your Raven up there and you have a couple Vikings, you can disable and just shoot it down.
It did cause TY's army to stop for a second and turn around. You got to be ready to take that.
See where his Marines are standing right there? That is a path that you might use for your Prism. So that's kind of interesting where TY has sat his Marines.
A very good point, actually.
It is going the other way, but I like the idea from TY here. It's a parking point. You're always going to park these somewhere.
The Raven is basically stuck back here. And now the Warp Prism can come through here. It can unload, and it should be able to, actually will not be able to get any Warp-ins over here.
Oh, clean up very, very quickly here.
It seems like the idea is almost that you want to just buy a little bit of time. It looks like he knows that there's going to be a timing coming here. Look at the supply difference right now.
Yeah.
Terran is nearly maxed out. I have to imagine an attack is going to be inbound here. What's your take, by the way, on that hallucinated Immortal there? What was the...
Well, he sent the Prism in, so he knew the units all moved away, so I like it with that. Maybe he was looking for a liftoff or something by hallucinating the Immortal, or if there was a mine or a siege tank.
Did we get the SCV pool again here?
No, I don't think so this game.
So what the game plan right now for Stats is to use his army, but primarily the Disruptors, to chuck out shots and chunk off parts of the Terran's army and hold the fourth and maintain the lead. Now this is the same kind of attack, but without the SCV pull this time around.
Yeah, but let's not forget as well, this is quicker because he went for the quicker third command center. He went for the more greedy play here.
That is true.
And look at that. While everything is trying to deal with his frontal push, he's harassing all over the place. 3 locations, 2 Liberators come in, and auto turrets go down.
This allows the Terran army to inch forward, stem up, siege up, and get in range of this Nexus. Good targeting on the Nexus. It will go down, and TY, with a beautiful escape, takes that out, backs off, basically unscathed with his main army. He'll try to go back home. Let's see if Stats tries to pursue this. Stats is now going to move to a different location, taking the 4th down here, or would be taking the 4th before the probe was assassinated.
Well, you know what? This really shows the difference in your openings, right? On game 2 against Stats, he did the 3-base all-in with normal timing third command, brought the SCVs and everything. Here, he was never planning on any sort of all-in. He was getting an armory for his 2-2. He had done a slightly more greedy play because he's playing against a defensive player, and you can see the power that that brings. I feel like this is why I did not think it would be close today, is games like this.
Now, Stats isn't dead yet. He's retaking his 4th, and he's now taking a 5th as well. So, you know, right now TY is taking the lead, but he doesn't quite have any kind of powerful closer that we can see. And this is a good move here by Stats, just cleaning the army up, moving back out. TY now taking the 12 o'clock spot. We do have Dark Templars coming here. I imagine we'll even have DT Blink as Stats basically finishes up the rest of the tech tree.
Yeah.
And we get into a late game PvT, which I'm super excited to see with these two players.
Yeah, he's getting a Stargate here as well, and he's actually got 2 cybernetic scores, which is incredibly interesting. Do you think it'll be Tempest, the kind of old school style, or is he going to try Carrier here?
Maybe Carrier? I'm not really sure, to be honest.
I think that you're right that he's going to try Carrier, especially based on the 2 cybernetic score. It doesn't feel like you need armor for Tempest, but
either one I welcome here.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, different thing that we're seeing from Stats.
Now, it seems like TOI wants to both push out and have a big drop come through here. This is spotted, however. And let's see if it can actually be sniped. It looks like it's headed towards 6 o'clock here.
Yeah, he's ready. He's already got a warping round over there.
But there is also a push headed over here to try to wipe out the same base from Stats that was destroyed earlier.
Yeah.
Now, Stats is going to trap this, but this should allow the TY army to come through here and do an insane amount of damage over to that base that was already destroyed once.
Well, it looks like there's some spotters there as well, and he did not use up a recall, so I think TY's being a little bit careful. Yeah. Disruptor's coming over. That will buy you a lot of time at a base like this.
Yeah, with no easy way to swipe the Disruptor, Stats is now going to push out here with a counterattack.
Oh, a beautiful attack here from Stats. TY does bring up his siege tanks, brings up his Vikings as well, pushes him back, doesn't take too much damage here.
Now with no planetary here, this orbital at about half health, Stats pokes in, decides to back up and regroup.
Look at this, 3 Stargates being added in. I am so excited for this little shift in the late game from Stats.
And I think we've gone into the game that Stats wants to play. I think we're now on Stats' terms. Stats has weathered the storm. He's held off the attacks from TY. He's taken his beatings.
Yeah.
But now we're in a game that I guarantee you Stats has played more than any other Protoss player in the world.
Oh yeah, this type of late game situation is definitely something that he is well versed in. He's got a very scary army there, you can see, right? And I mean, this can be hard to deal with, but TY is a great positional player. So, you know, he already gained a bit of an advantage earlier in the game. We'll see if he can carry that forward.
Might have been better to try to just get the kill on the command center there. I don't know if that was worth running away from. The drop over here also acts as a nice scout to see exactly what kind of tech was intended here into the late game. It looks like this is going to be delayed just slightly.
Yeah, and you know what? Sniping that fleet beacon is pretty amazing. And he actually does not even run against the recall, which is like 5 stalkers. So a bit of a mistake there from Stats, who, by the way, has to defend against this attack as well.
Yeah, I think the main attack of the main is going to get cleaned up here. This army definitely not strong enough to deal with at the moment. Well, I say that, now these Vikings are really driving away these Colossi. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Well, there's some beautiful play going on right here from TY, right? He is hitting multiple locations all over the place with really efficient, cool armies. A lot of DTs being warped in. That's kind of interesting. You'll shred that army pretty easily.
Yeah, if you don't scan that in time.
No, you're done.
The first few swipes of DTs completely changes who's on top. Now, Stats has more bases, but right now, we see that TY is going to be catching up pretty quickly here. Oh, I love this play. Chunks off some of those tanks. I think he will force, not a cancel, but at least a liftoff.
Yeah.
But TY may see an opening here.
Yeah,
this bottom base looks like there's nothing here to defend.
Well, look at this. Stats is going to give it up and actually go for a counterattack. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be the best play, though.
Well, I mean, right now, everything is sieged up as far as the tanks go. And the targeted down to the planetary takes it out. And now an attack over here on the third. Out of nowhere, it looks like TY is going to be knocked onto 2 bases. Keep in mind that Protoss will be able to recall here, and there's plenty more that TY has to take out before he can catch up to the position of Stats here.
Yeah, this is getting absolutely crazy. Stats going to lose another base as well. He does have several nexuses left, though. Some big disruptor shots go off. TY picks up, redrops in his natural. He can't stop this army with what he has at home, though.
Yeah, he might try to come in here and take out this last orbital, excuse me. And from there, probably recall back home. One of the last bases is under attack, but Zealots being warped in. The army supply right now, barely even, but the worker count now at 9 over here for TY.
Beautiful play here from Stats. Look at this. He's taken a lot of damage at home, but finally holds off what TY had left over. TY flying back right now, but a huge army from Stats coming in, up 100 supply.
I think with this late game play, Stats has basically zoned TY out of any kind of comeback here.
Well, he just lost basically all of his expensive units, right? He brings in a lot of charge lots, though, and if he kills these tanks, I think
he's just going to swamp them with Zealots, and that's going to be it. Again, right now, there's plenty more Nexi, and there's plenty more workers here for Stats. GG, Stats evens it out 2-2.
Now, that was a great game. That game, I think, is telling now. And I might have to switch it up. I don't know that TY is going to take it down after looking at that, because I think TY played a beautiful opening with the 3 command center. Stats was unable to do anything against it. TY capitalized on it, killing the 4th base of Stats, or the 3rd base of Stats, whatever, very quickly and basically for free. And then Stats fought back with just superb army movement, great defense throughout, and ended up taking that in a crazy base trade.
Yeah, you know what it is? This is the story of the macro player looking better the longer the game goes on. TY had really cool stuff planned out. He had some great tactical approaches, especially in game 1. But if it is any game where it's about taking bases and scouting and defending, Stats seems to be a lot better.
Well, he was certainly very, very good that game, but I think TY approached it in a really intelligent way, too.
He did, but you could see the setup. TY thought he finally had that push opportunity. Stats hits from 2 sides. He crushes the north with the DTs blinking on top of the orbital and the Zealots. At the same time, he pushes into the 3rd. Suddenly, TY on 2 bases. And there is no way for Terran to catch up with a base trade, despite how much damage Stim infantry does and how that can just obliterate buildings.
He killed a lot of Nexuses and everything, but TY was only attacking 1 place at once.
He killed a lot of workers, too.
Yeah.
There's no way to recover from there. And Stats, again, that is a late game macro PVT that you will not see from any other player but Stats. He is so good at that approach. He's so patient. TY took a lead in that game, in the mid game.
He certainly
TY
did.
took out the 4th base and then backed off, and a lot of times, kind of like you see in a TVZ, that's usually the first sign of a Zerger, in this case a Protoss, beginning to lose the game. But Stats is patient. He is used to playing from behind, and he pulled through. We have a short break. When we come back, Game 5, don't go away.
상큼한 복숭아가 사이다를 더 청량하게. 새로움을 마시다.
실성 사이다.
성능을 대용량 배터리로 언제 어디서나 더 오래 즐기다. 72Wh 대용량 배터리, 고성능 노트북의 새로운 기준, LG 울트라 기어. 듀얼 메모리, 듀얼 저장 장치. 고성능을 듀얼 업그레이드로 더 오랜 기간 즐기다.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
거기 들어와. 그 밑에 걔 잡고. 나이스. 자, 씨. 됐어.
아 미안해 로나. 화났어?
미안해. 내가 해줄게.
아 잠깐 내가 누르면 안 돼. 아 누르면 안 돼 지금. 자 경쾌하게 무슨 소리야?
좋은 시간 되세요.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
너무 많이 마셨다.
청정제주 숙취비법과 탄산의 만남. 숙취엔 가스강.
싱그러운 청귤이 사이다를 더 청량하게. 새로움을 마시다.
실성 사이다.
세미파이널스 T1 스태츠.
We're tied up 2-2. The next map is Submarine.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. That last game was awesome, and stats showed he should not be underestimated later into the game in PvT right now, which is fantastic to see.
That was a great technical closer there. The way that he took out TY, it really, I think, showed some of the limitations of macro play against stats, where it's like, no, he's like, stats is like one of these epic zergs in a TVP, where like you give him enough time and it's like, oh, he's too big. He's got
and
his
then he makes 100
everywhere.
banelings and just kills you?
Exactly, yeah. Then Nidus's pop up everywhere and you go, this isn't fair! That's what stats does. Yeah, we have a great series. This is way outdoing the other half of the round of 4. I'm super excited. I don't know who's going to take it. I'm most interested in seeing how TY will play this.
Yeah.
Our countdown has started. Again, TY versus Stats 2-2. We're going to the map Submarine. Get your periscopes ready. Okay, game starting now.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해 볼까? 아프리카 프렉스 TY 전태양. 아프리카 프렉스 스태츠 김대영.
So, a couple thoughts based on that last game. I don't think TY has to change how he played that last game. Like, as far as most of it goes, maybe just, you know, towards the end where stats hit 2 locations while TY, and it turned into like a weird base trade. I think TY was ahead until that point. So I think that overall the way he played that game was really good, and he could continue down that same type of route. Also, like, I don't know how much he had planned ahead of time But if he has a solid TVP mech, that might not be a bad choice. Mech is generally good against Colossus openers. And also, the fact that stats, we've seen multiple times him try to get into air toss late game. TY, people forget this, but TY is the ultimate battlecruiser player. And especially against Protoss. He's actually practiced battlecruiser against Protoss more than anyone but Nathanius. And he's really good at it, and battlecruisers beat air toss, straight up. So if you go mech, you're already working towards that in case it goes to that. So I'm just throwing that out there as maybe a what-if type of thing.
Now, I'm going to give a little bit of pushback here. I think that he could go mech, but I worry that might even play into just Stats' play style a little bit more.
Do you think so?
I think so. I feel like mech, obviously there are ways to be pretty active with it now, but I think Stats will have an easier time defending against that.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to attack much if you go mech.
Yeah,
sure.
and I feel
I
like
think it's more about getting a comp that's hard to deal with.
Yeah, there might be ways for Stats to exploit that economically and positionally. Because again, he's all about the setup. So I think a mech game would be exciting just to see. I want to see how Stats plays against it, but yeah. I would, if I had to guess here, if I had to bet, that I think Stats would handle it pretty well.
Yeah, it might be the case. Like, mech is such a tricky, weird, unexplored area still in this matchup.
By the way, I think if Stats wins here, I think we're going to see TY start to go back into aggressive cheese.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
So you think he'll just switch it up then?
I think so.
Okay.
Keep in mind that Stats only did an aggro build once in game one, which could be a red, his red herring build, where he had one kind of wilder build set up to throw the player off, and then he wanted to lean back into, ideally 3 wins with macro play.
All right, well, right now, these Hellions going to try to run in. Oh,
nice block, but this Adept is pretty weak. The Hellions go by, as does the Reaper. One Hellion shot down.
Yeah, that's very important that he did get that Hellion. And he's going to go ahead and clean this up.
Okay, and he didn't actually even get any losses here again. Now, the second wave of units coming through here might be able to do a little bit more, but 2 is not the ideal number to try to snipe probes.
Yeah.
And again, do we actually have a probe killed there?
Oh, did we get a probe kill?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he lost one.
So right now, we have TY actually hemorrhaging a decent amount of his army, but this rush is just getting started. We have concussive shells about to finish here, and with the fact that some of Stats' units have already been softened up, this still can end up doing quite a bit. And this is, TY going right for the knees here. He wants to try to topple Stats really early on here. This is enough Hellions. This is a real threat to the workers. And with the Marauders coming over here with concussive shell.
Oh my God.
That was perfect.
Yeah, he overcharges, but his Stalkers were out of range.
Yeah.
So that flank and drop just completely murdered him.
And now a massacre on the probes over here. And one Marauder to slow down the Stalkers that are necessary to defend over 13 kills.
This was very, very good.
This was a beautiful strategy here by TY, and the way he handled it control-wise was so good. It looked like Stats was holding and holding and holding,
yeah,
until eventually the right unit composition came in here.
He was now barely out of position when that came up.
Yeah.
And his Stalker was barely out of the battery range.
Now, there is counterplay here. Let's not forget, a lot of units were thrown away to kill workers. There's a bunker coming here, but there's Stalkers with an Observer, and soon to have a new Blink cooldown. Great control by TY, but the Stalkers are winning the fight.
Yeah, he's getting all the Marauders.
No, nothing to go into the bunker just yet. Gets the Raven. I imagine we're going to have a blink in a second here onto the high ground. Nothing in the main to defend. The Widowmine scrambling, but can be shot down, and is.
God. He might actually just kill him
here. Stim. He can get Stim.
Oh, he can get more than Stim. He can get all these SCVs as well. The SCVs have to come out and fight. Oh my God. I mean, a couple Hellions and a Marauder are not going to do it.
A nice pickup there to keep the Marauder alive, but it's going to be back onto the low ground, and we're seeing the worker count begin to even out. Actually, even out, what am I saying? It's 26-40.
Yeah, that was great by Stats. What a fantastic counterattack right there.
So again, TY with a really cool opening, but I think he didn't account for the possible overextension there that, okay, you got in there and did the damage, but you traded your units to kill their workers, which means that Stats, who by the way happens to have one of the most efficient mobile armies in the game, Blink Stalkers with Observer, can come across the map and punish you.
I tell you, it was beautifully done. TY just didn't have that bunker up quickly enough to really support. He lost 3 Marauders basically for free. Awesomely done by Stats.
Whoa! Gonna lose 1 Stalker there. Now Stim is finished, which you gotta be careful. I mean, if you have Stim and you have a low number of units, sometimes you'll Stim and attack it and just die, but Stim makes the threat much more real. If the Stalkers ever get pinned and there's the right number of infantry, you can Stim in and really punish. And I think Stats should probably not blink in there because that would be such an obvious move. You could fall into a trap, and so he's going to back off. Stats is taking his 3rd. Stats has had a 10-worker lead for a while now with 2 Colossi out here as well.
Yeah, look at this. The Hellion Medevac flying over, but he does have 2 Colossi in that main base. Not going to be able to do anything. Has to turn around. And TY denied right there.
Can the Stalkers catch this Medevac? I don't think they can.
No.
Good save there. Again, Stats with the defense. That's the kind of defense that allows him, again, it's that Dark Souls parry, man. The strike is coming in and bam, knocks it off and does the punish.
He is doing some great defense right now. TY, I mean, he pushes out a little bit. The thing is, Stats sees all this because of his Observer. When you do this type of damage early on, it's less likely they're going to be scanning to kill Observers at that point. A lot of times the Mules are helping them to kind of bridge that gap that they lost.
Okay. TY stays back on 2 bases. He does have a 3rd command center that's being made. And he's going to inch forward here, Stats is. Because he wants to just try to see if he can't delay, even if it's just for a little bit, the acquisition of the 3rd base.
Yeah. Well, I think if he stands in the right position, he absolutely can. 3 Colossi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how many Colossi you're looking for almost always.
Yeah, that's
right?
when
so you already have that crazy damage output.
The first volley from the 3 Colossi does so much damage. It really starts to mop up the Terran army. Now, there are Vikings being made here, and there's not a ton of Stalkers, so he needs to be careful because Vikings coming out in pairs will pretty quickly begin to outnumber, as far as damage goes, this army here. And even though it's a threat to the ground, if you start to pick off the Colossi, you've zoned the Protoss out of having the right number of robo units to be viable in the mid-game.
Colossi are an essential point of your army if you're making them, right?
Yeah.
He's got 3 Colossi, that's all the muscle. I think his Gateway army sucks aside from that.
Stats may have identified that he has a timing attack in here with the 3 Archons and the rest of his army that he might be able to bulldoze this base.
I don't know that he's going to be able to. Look at this setup, right? You've got the Vikings
angle's pretty
floating
sick.
above the tanks. Yeah, it's a big wraparound here. Like, I think attacking from just this side is probably the best he can do. Okay. I don't think he should attack here.
Well, he says otherwise. He's going to go for it.
Yeah, he comes in. The stim of Bio here, trying to target down some of these Colossi, but unable to do so.
So far, he's been able to pick up those Colossi, pull them away into the Warp Prism. But it looks like the bulk of the infantry was not quite destroyed, but I think there's still opportunities here for Stats to try to come in. It's just one more tank here. He's got another wave of Zealots that can come forward. He has the 2 Zealots that are going to branch off over there and kill off the tank. And now with no Vikings here, as long as he keeps the Colossi alive and he keeps warping in Zealots, I think we might be able to see the Protoss push through. The next set of Zealots is coming here. We have Disruptors that'll come to reinforce us as well. We see no counterplay on the map.
Well, he has a lot of Marauders here, though, right? The charge lots are really the muscle here, I guess you could say.
Blinking in here does take out 1 Viking. Now the Disruptor, that's what I'm watching here.
Yeah.
He just taps out. Stats wins before the Disruptor finisher could come in. And Stats now has taken the lead.
Very nice.
3-2. And
Raise his
TY,
hand.
it is now being proven, TY seems to have absolutely nothing against a game where the Terran is trying, excuse me, the Protoss is just expanding and Terran's trying to play more standard. Terran's trying to play in the realm of, all right, this is what a PvP usually looks like. If we get into mid game, we get into late game. And like Stats is just shutting everything down. I think that strategy that TY opened up with was really brilliant. Some really sexy play,
cool, yeah,
getting the Marauders in there, slowing the Stalkers down, and then coming in and hitting the probes. But he did not account for the counterattack.
Yeah,
Usually,
the counter did so much.
Yeah, usually we see the Stalkers simply used as defense to try to blink in there, catch the medevacs. But when you hemorrhage that much of your army, when you give up, when you trade off that much to kill probes, after the attack finishes, Stats is able to come in there and actually punish in a way that's much more devastating than even what the Terran did to him.
Well, some beautiful play there, really. Like, that counterattack was so important. If you hadn't gotten that much damage done, TY would have been able to take that relatively easily. And, you know, I guess he did have some killer instinct there at the end. It was kind of a close battle. He had to do several rounds of reinforcements. I was actually a little bit surprised that TY left it right at that second. Maybe he caught an eye on that disruptor and decided that, you know, this was not going to go right. But, you know, his SCV count wasn't as bad as I think he might have thought it was compared to the probes. I don't know. Anyways, going on to set 6, TY must win from here or he will not make his second finals in a row.
I think TY needs to change his play style here a little bit. I think he needs to be a little bit crazier. Otherwise, Stats will take this. Our game is loaded up. Again, the map is Everdream. TY with 2 wins, Stats with 3. Let's go.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해볼까? 아프리카 프렉스 TY 전태양. 아프리카 프렉스 스태츠 김대영.
Right. Very fast scout from Stats here. Very, very fast.
I think Stats probably feels like he has this,
yeah,
as long as TY doesn't steal his wallet.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
He might have just sent it this fast to make sure that TY couldn't do that second depot thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think exactly. I think right now it's like he's just trying to make sure he doesn't get robbed this game. He gets to play the games that he wanted to practice. I think Stats is somebody it's very clear, and by the way, this is reminding me a lot of the Stats that we got to cast in the past, is a guy that just sort of, he invested in patient, methodical play, in reactive play.
Yeah.
He is somebody who celebrated the economy aspect of StarCraft.
Sure.
Not just the fact that you can hide buildings places or that you can do surprise attacks or hit them while they're trying to make stuff. He's like, no, I will be able to hold this off. I will survive this. I will have more. I will win in the larger game. And in a matchup that I think this year has looked a lot more explosive and a lot more about players deceiving each other, Stats is seeming to rise above in the matchup.
Yeah, and it's kind of a beautiful thing to see, too, because he was really not doing well for a couple years.
Yeah.
And now he is looking so much better, so much stronger.
There were so many games he would just get straight up bopped in.
Yeah.
And now it's like, again, he's looking like one of these terrifying macro Zergs.
He's found his stride, you know, and that's really important to see.
And really, when you're playing against an amazing macro player, it's like you're trying to stop that meteor from hitting Earth and destroying everything. Like, it's coming. You need to figure it. If you don't stop it soon, the impact is going to get there, and it's over.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I think Stats is a canary in the coal mine for Protoss. If Stats isn't performing well, there's something wrong with the metagame. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
When Stats falls off, it just turns into cheese everywhere. And it's like he's such a leader as far as the more defensive macro play goes. And speaking of that, quick hidden Dark Shrine. So
this is sick.
Playing very differently. This is what we like to see from Stats sometimes.
Yes, and I think this is what we've always said Stats needed to do a little bit more of. It's not
Absolutely.
It's not like he didn't do play like this ever, but I mean, we've seen it already in our cast here today, guys. Like he tends to win in macro games, but you know, it's hard to ever do the same thing over and over and survive, especially in a best of 7. You're giving up so much of what your current play style is. And so this game, look, he's disguising it very well. It does look like it's just your straight up 3-base play. You know, look at me, I'm going to get my blink here. I'm going to get my stalkers out. Whatever you try to do to me, I'll try to defend it. But with the Dark Shrine coming in here, especially with TY so far seeming inclined to try to fiddle with his opponent in some way early on, I think the fact that he can come in with a DT drop and punish is huge.
Yeah, well, that's the thought process, right? But unfortunately for him, TY has, once again, I think, done a great build for playing against Stats. He's gone for 3 commands, and he's getting a Raven. So that means he has tons of energy for scans, and a Raven is going to be out. So yeah, the odds of this DT drop actually doing anything, very, very slim, I would say. And when your DT drop does very little, already you're going to be a little bit squishy when Terran first decides to attack. And remember, the last time TY did this build, he absolutely pulverized one of Stats' bases.
Yes.
This time, because it's the same type of build, he might actually be able to kill it with it.
Yeah. There's this whole period in time where if you go DTs, you don't have an easy transition out of it unless you did a lot of damage. But this is only 1 DT. And this DT will be picked up immediately and sent back out. The second DT will come in here and just see if you can't get any kills on SCVs.
Oh, just barely gets there.
And now it's going to be Protoss trying to transition into Archon drops.
Which is not Zerg, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I think this is just Stats trying to make use somehow of his position. It's like not what you really want to be doing, but this will probably force a Viking out or something to try to chase away the Warp Prism. And look, he's killing a few workers here.
Well, he's got to be careful. We might see a disable here, which will allow him to kill the Archons. Of course, you don't want to disable it with the Archons in because it's wasted mana at that point. Yeah,
like
see?
That. Yeah.
That's wasted right there, but like, you could see the counterplay there where he was picking up the Archons quicker than he needed to because he knew TY was thinking of disabling. So he was making it into a situation where you really don't want to do it.
And so now the Archons can come back in here again. And you can kind of see why this is not normally used against Terran because the range makes it harder.
This is dangerous.
But he has so far made it work. And with the auto turret, can he target down the Warp Prism?
Oh, I think he's trying. Yeah, and he gets it. Now both the Archons are gone.
Meanwhile, a drop over here. Oh, this could be bad for Stats here. I'm not sure what exactly Stats has at home. But there's like one pylon powering everything.
All right, picks up. Has to get out of there for now. Did you like that Archon drop at the end of the day? Was that plus or minus, do you think?
I'd say plus. I didn't like when he came in the second time. I think he was trying to get away with too much.
Yeah,
I think he should have waited for them to try to counterattack and then tried to come in there. I think when he look, the moment I saw that Warp Prism coming back in after the disable, I was worried about an auto turret. I thought, okay, well, the auto turret, you can set up a position where you can hit it. I think you got to act like you're going to come in there and do it, but then not commit. So we've got Marines, Medevacs, and a Raven roaming the map here. Now, the big question here on Stats' side of things is, did he actually buy enough time to still get himself into an okay position? Because for the most part, his strat basically failed. I mean, the Archon harass is kind of a crappy plan B that you have to do because you have no other realistic option to transition the game into where it's like you're going to be sort of kind of okay.
Yeah.
And he did kill some SCVs, and he did, you know, do some damage. He did bait out that spell from the Raven, which is sort of inconsequential now, but it did give him an opening to try to do a little bit more harass, even though he overextended. But from here, can Stats play the defensive game? And again, we have Stats on the map doing the pokes here. And actually, he hit enough. Let's see if he pursues. He does not. He backs up and makes a forge, as the Stats would.
It's the right thing to do. He's getting that speed prism once again. He already has some disruptors out, continuing to make them and taking a 4th base. So, yeah, I think it all kind of worked out for him. The fact that he just already has his Colossus out and is getting into those disruptors shows us how slowed down TY truly has been this game.
So I would say from here, seeing that we have the 2 disruptors coming out, seeing that we've got more Archons in the game, I think Stats is fine. I actually think this is a game where, like, he's still going to get to where he wants to be.
Yeah, he's certainly fine. You're definitely right about that. The question became, like, okay, the DTs didn't do anything, but was the Archon drop good enough? And when you look at how he was nice and greedy behind it and got into all of his tech, it was good enough. Like, I don't think that this army can really do anything between the Colossus and the Disruptor. This becomes very difficult to force damage.
Okay, this should allow TY to basically come in here and take this area. Actually, I guess not. I guess not with the disruptors. I actually, for some reason, didn't see the 3 disruptors under there. I didn't even know where that disruptor ball came from. I was totally confused. No, he cannot go in there. He's going to have to drop in the main.
Yeah, very nice drop. There is some counterplay here, as you see in the bottom right there. A warp in of Zealots in the main base of TY.
TY still hitting this 4th base. The critical moment here as far as macro play goes with TY. Looks like he will take this out. This will even out the playing field here economically.
Don't forget, though, a lot of SCVs are going down at TY's home. Now, TY ends up killing a Nexus. He loses a few of his units there, and now finally going to deal with this Zealot Warpin in his main.
Yeah, the Warp Prism goes down, so no more Warpins as well. Worker count is basically the same here, although TY does seem to have a bigger army as far as supply goes. TVP, though, I think engagement, the way that the armies interact, is more important. Like, if a disruptor shot hits all the Terran units, then I don't think supply is as significant.
You're for sure right about that.
I said that like
disruptor.
that was my opinion. Like, I'm just throwing my thoughts out there, but no, in reality,
we talk a lot about supply inefficiency with roaches.
Yeah,
that's the easiest one to talk about. How they don't really scale to supply. It's like your max on roaches. Who cares? But supply efficiency, we don't talk about as much. The Baneling and the Disruptor are insanely supply efficient. Insanely supply efficient.
By the way, TY pushes in here, confirming that the 4th has not been taken, retaken, I should say. It's actually being relocated up here towards the very top. Again, another attack in here. TY is doing a pretty good job keeping his opponent busy. I think there's some kind of a warp-in over at the 3rd base.
Yeah, there certainly is. Some Zealots getting on top of everything. He did kill a decent chunk of SCVs there, but it gets cleaned up as well. This is really cool, having the 2 cams.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Mine doesn't have that.
Tasteless.
This screen in front of me is the one where I just see Shine screen. Yeah. I don't have that box in a box. You're like pointing all this stuff out. I'm like, oh, good catch, Artosis.
Oh no,
it's right there.
Look over here. You'll see.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll start casting off of your screen now. This is still a new production thing for us.
Well, I don't want you to have all this stuff. I'm gonna put my.
You're looking great right now in this cast, Artosis. Now, another drop over here in the main.
Yeah.
Stats is staying back. TY, by the way, has outgrown Stats here. This is going to be a tough game from Stats from here on out.
Well, Stats is making these great moves, right? Like, we see him continually harass, and here he comes again. This is a hard army to actually fight against.
Okay, nice denial there, but this is the moment here where Stats might try to push in. Again, the Disruptors make it hard for the Terran army to be on the ground. If they're not on the ground, it's not easy to stim and get the engagements you want.
Yeah, that is tough. Stats continuing onwards, getting DT Blink, continuing his upgrades. TY almost halfway through 2-2.
This is a planetary over here. It's hard for the Protoss to hold their ground in a position like that. Ghost coming in here to try to get the EMPs off, and they do pull that move off. Meanwhile, a counterattack here. I don't know if there's enough. Oh, well, there was enough now, excuse me, with the recall.
Yeah, that's a big army right there. TY definitely has to back up from that. Charge forward here from the Zealots. The blink forward from the Stalkers. The next blink going to be very deadly. But TY brings the rest of his army up from behind.
Now, Stats is caught up here in supply. He has enough. I think he can actually confront this army. Good blink in to snipe the Vikings here.
Yeah, the Viking's not as important at this moment, but if he does pick those up, he can easily get back in Colossus. You can see he is starting that just now.
This is a wise rotation by Stats. Up here towards this orbital, this will easily be taken out. A big economic victory there. And now with these disruptors coming through here, oh my god, great targeting there by TY.
Picks off huge hits right there and actually kills off most of the disruptors. Backing up here, flanking from the high ground as well. SCV is actually being pulled right now, but he's going to back up into this planetary, and I don't think you're going to break this planetary. He has to get out of here.
This planetary is a real lifesaver right now for TY. It's allowing him to flee back into a position where he's basically okay. And look at that. Now I see this thing that you saw the whole time, Artos. This is picture-in-picture. This is amazing.
God. Yeah, we have some big stuff happening right now, busting through right there at the natural front. But at the same time, we saw some DT harassing. We have a fight over here. There's actually too much going on. Get rid of that. Let me look at your screen.
Now, the third is almost mined out. The planetary is still mineral rich. But Stats is, again, outgrown TY by a little bit. Worker count, Stats ahead, actually a decent amount. Army supplies.
What's the actual income right now, right? Because they are mining out of these bases. Stats' income is not really that great because he's not mining from the top left yet.
DT play, I think, is key here. Look at this.
Yeah.
He can just come in here and do these quick snipes. He can force a lot of scans, which is going to slow down mules. Do we have any Ravens that are out in the game right now? I don't think we do, actually.
Yeah, no, we don't have any Ravens right now.
Yeah, so then this is, look at this.
The invisible men are killing so many SCVs right now. Look at this.
There's nothing embarrassing about wearing a cape when you're invisible, Artosis. You can look like a real asshat and nobody can see it. Now, we've got another attack in over here. I don't know if TY can handle this. Again, the Blinken shaving off the army as TY retreats back.
Yeah, he switched up his composition quite a bit here. Back to Stalker Colossus for the main bulk of his army. DT's running around absolutely everywhere, getting that damage in.
Stats, it seems like he's very close to closing this one out. Oh, dude, look at those DTs.
Oh, they're waiting.
Oops, kind of stepped into the range of the scan. Nice blink. And the thing is, guys, even though these DTs aren't doing that much, if he forces scans, again, those are mules that were never...
And you'll run out of scans as well, let's not forget, right? There's so many DTs out there. There's 5 with blink right now.
Now an army of TY has forked off and is going towards the upper left, but I think this allows an opening here for Stats to come in with a possible fatal blow here to TY.
This is a gigantic attack. Those disruptors so scary. Sends off the disruption balls. TY's dodges are good, but does it matter? Does he have enough to break through the main army?
Okay, again, I think things are beginning to fray at the seams here for TY.
Yeah,
he's now pulling this orbital away. The Colossi are in a position where they continue to hammer the workers. They can't mine at that planetary.
But you know what? TY right now, he is actually hitting a lot of different areas with his Bioforce out on the map, but a ton of DTs just warped in to deal with it. And it looks like TY has to lift off. He can't stop this many DTs.
Medivacs turning around now, but Stats continues to come through and pummel now the infrastructure here just outside the second base. A blink in and a dive on the planetary. The SCVs don't save it in time.
Oh, he tries to drop on top of the main army. Some great splitting here as well. He's going to take down all the Colossi. Going after the Stalkers now. The Disruptor's out of shots. TY is going to clear this army.
TY clears it, but is it too little, too late?
There's
right now,
DTs everywhere.
There is no mining base here for TY. TY actually lifting up and sending one of his spare orbitals over to what was the third base. The DTs are getting cleaned up, but it seems like Stats has still got enough of an income. He can continue to muster an army.
He's still trying to wiggle out of this one somehow, but Stats with that top left, making more nexuses all over the place, just running around with blink DTs. It doesn't seem like there's any way for TY to actually fight against this.
There are 4 SCVs in this game right now, to 79.
To 79 workers? My
That's
God.
insane.
He has more probes than supply here for TY.
A meager counterattack here from TY as he moves out across the map, and I think this is just going to be smashed by the army of Stats here.
This is the last chance for TY. He is bringing one more attack up, but there's disruptors in here.
There's just
too much everything.
I think this isn't even the last chance. This is just it. TY has been defeated. GG! Stats moves on to the GSL Codes Finals Season 2 with macro play, the kind we were missing out on.
Yeah.
That's how you take down a Terran player.
Dude.
Wait them out, defend whatever attacks they have coming at you, deflect, counterattack, use that Warp Prism, get the disruptors, get the good engages off, out-expand.
You know what, Stats, like on his path here, I wasn't completely convinced that he was all the way back, but after that series, I am. Stats is back. He is looking like the strongest Protoss on Earth right now. Beautifully played here tonight against TY. A well-deserved finals after a really long time missing out.
TY really reflecting on that loss. Crazy to see Stats do this. Let's see how he's feeling. He'll be going up in the finals against Rogue for the Season 2 of the GSL Codes. Okay, our interview's ready. Go ahead, Andy.
아이어의
And
방패로
the last
돌아온
Protoss
김대엽
defeats
선수
the last
2년
Terran,
만에 결승
and
진출을
Stats moves on to the
만들어냈습니다.
finals
바로
in 2
만나보겠습니다.
years.
축하드립니다.
Congratulations.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
2018년 이후
After
2년 만에
2018,
결승
this is
진출입니다.
your grand
소감
finals
어떠세요?
in 2 years. How do you feel?
진짜 너무 오랜만에 올라간 것 같아요.
Honestly, it's been such a long time. I feel so happy.
그 에버드림 마지막 그
And in Everdream, the last map,
마지막 지지받는 그
when
순간에
I saw the GG,
올라간 건가? 약간 이런 생각이
it
들
felt
정도로
surreal.
경기에 엄청
I couldn't like comprehend
집중하면서
what's going on.
경기했었거든요. 그래가지고 지금 좀 굉장히 얼떨떨.
So right now, I'm
좀
just
시간 지나면은
really flabbergasted, and
오늘 후반
I think the feeling of euphoria has come to me right
안정감이
now.
상당히 크게 느껴졌습니다. 사실 껄끄러운 전태양이었고
And
세
TY,
공격전
brought
중에서
up some
테란전이
really tricky
가장
strategies,
좋은 편이었는데
but you managed to
이런
defend it
후반
off
운영
so
되게
perfectly.
어떻게 해오셨나요?
So how did you manage to prepare for the late game
일단
macro?
좀 후반 운영 같은 경우에는
Well, as for the late game macro,
굉장히 자신 있었고
I was
약간
confident
후반을
in it
넘어가는 그
from a long time
중간다리
ago.
과정에서 제가 좀 많이 무너지면서
And there were times when I really crumbled in the phase of turning into the late game.
중간다리 부분을 좀 보완하려고.
So I managed to implement the fix
오늘도
to that
전태양 선수의 초중반
mid-phase of the
빌드를
game.
잘 막고 간다. 이런 부분들이
You managed to
경기에서
show
많이
really good
보였거든요.
defensive
어떤 부분을 많이
ability
신경
today.
쓰셨어요?
네, 아무래도 말씀하신 그 부분을 많이 신경 썼고.
And like you said, I did
그리고 또
pay attention to that.
두 번째 세트 때
And the second set,
후반 운영으로 이렇게 넘어가는 이런 분위기가 흘러가니까.
the game was going to late game.
마음이 급한지 좀
And it
실수를
felt like TY was
그래가지고
kind of hurrying up, and he made some
후반으로만
trivial
좀
mistakes.
이끌면은 이길 수
So I knew that if I
있겠다라고
went to late game macro, I would be
네,
able to take the
아이어의
win.
방패와 같았습니다.
You definitely were the shield of Ire today.
맞물려서 배터리 활용도 정말
And you
적극적으로
used some
하시더라고요.
amazing
확실히
battery
이거
overcharge
우리의 나와
today.
정말 잘 맞는다 이런 느낌이세요?
So how's the battery going for you right now?
네, 그런 것 같아요. 제가 아무래도 좀 후반 지향적이다 보니까.
I mean, I'm like a late game oriented player.
후반에 좀 약한 부분들을
So I do show up
배터리가
some
좀
weak
많이
sides
보완을
in
해주는
the
것
early
같아요.
to mid game
네, 오늘은
phase.
이런 아이어의 방패와 같은 모습 플러스 또 공격형 암흑기사까지
And literally,
쓰는
you did
모습까지
use some
보여주셨는데요.
Dark Templars
이렇게
to show some
멋진
aggression
풀세트
against TY
접전
today.
끝에 결승에
But after
올라가게
the
됐습니다.
4-2 win,
아까
you do
사전
move on to the
인터뷰에서
finals.
악당 이병렬 선수를
And the prior
물리치자
interview,
이런
you said that you're going to
이야기를
defeat
하셨는데요.
the
사실
villain,
그분이
Rogue,
절친이잖아요.
and move on
네,
to
왜
hold the
악당이에요?
trophy. So why did you describe Rogue as a villain?
치고 그리고 또
I'm Rogue. He plays tricks on me.
경렬이한테도 또 많이
We are close to
졌었던
each
것
other,
같아요.
but I
최근에.
did lose to Rogue quite a few times.
그래가지고 누가 올라가든지 간에
So whoever
경렬이
moves up
이기고
to the
우승하자는
finals,
그런 얘기였고.
wants to beat Rogue.
이병렬 선수가 7전제에서 무패 기록을 갖고
And
계십니다.
like everyone knows,
아셨나요?
Rogue is
아니요,
undefeated
몰랐는데
in a
저도
best of
듣고
7 format. Did you know
그렇다면
that?
확실히
No, I didn't know
이번
that.
준비도 특별해야 할 것
So I'm
같은데요.
sure I'm going to have to prepare really well
결승전
to face
앞두고 각오
Rogue in the
한마디
finals.
부탁드립니다.
So before you go, anything you want to say?
굉장히 지금 좀 경기에 집중하느라고 머릿속이 되게 좀.
Right now, I'm kind of like blank right now because I focus on the game too much.
오늘과 같은 경기력 이끌어낼 수
But in the
있도록
finals, I hope to show the
잘
performance I showed today.
결승전 모습, 결승전에서 좋은 모습
And in the
보여드리겠고
finals, I'll try to
연습을
show good
도와준
performance.
친구들이 또 있어요.
And there are
타임 선수가
players I
진짜
practice with.
제 아침 1시 경기에 맞춰가지고 정말
And time helped me so much
연속으로
for the last 3 days.
도와줘가지고 너무 고맙고.
So I'm really grateful to him.
성주가 좀 빌드 디테일적인 부분이나 어떻게
And
풀어나가야
Maru
되는지 부분을 잘
told me about the
신경
details of the game.
태양이나 재선이나 도우기도
And Bunny
견제나
and Cure
약간 태양의 그런 찌르는 빌드
also
식으로
helped
잘
me
도와줬기 때문에 올라갈 수
learn
있는 것
about
같아요.
TY's harass and cheese
그렇군요. 도와주신 분들이
techniques.
굉장히 많았는데요. 다시 한번 진출
Once again,
축하드립니다.
congratulations on your advancement. Thank you.
네, 이렇게 결승에 진출한
Thank you,
김대엽
Annie.
선수. GSL에서
What
오랫동안
a
나오지 않은
great
소속의
series we had
우승,
today.
그 염원을 이룰
Yeah,
수
this was
있을지
really
부탁드려야
awesome,
되는데요.
really
지금까지
fantastic.
결승
And it's really cool to see
진출자
Stats
김대엽 선수 만나봤습니다.
overcome all the ingenious planning that TY had here.
It was very nice to see, really. I think that TY used some really smart strategies against Stats. Sometimes he was in a lead and everything, and Stats still just brought it right back. Look at that. He's now tied with all-time finals. And in fact, if he wins this finals, he will tie Zest and MC in tournaments 1 as well for GSL. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm
like to
so
see that.
excited to see Stats in this finals. I was really wondering if he was going to be able to come back. You know, it seems like his way of playing the game is, I think, in a lot of ways harder.
Yeah.
Than a lot of the other approaches that players have had.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons why we've seen Zest do damage and have tournament success really early on in major shifts in the game.
Yeah.
But then get zoned out in later parts. And the same is true for, you know, I guess the opposite, I should say, is true for Stats here, where it seems like he figures it out later because it's harder. It requires more practice, a better defense. But in the end, he has a better handle on the overall late game.
Yeah, in many ways, for sure.
I am really excited about this. This finals will be next week. It'll be 5 p.m. KST, so not the normal time you guys are used to watching on a Saturday.
That's right, and it's going to be badass. I mean, Rogue has never lost in a situation like this, and Stats has never beat a player like Rogue at the finals of a tournament.
Yeah.
There's, again, you know, he's one of these players that hasn't been able to overcome a challenge like a Rogue. So, I don't know. We'll see what he brings. I'm excited to see it, though. He really is in great shape once again. But Rogue, I mean, he already won IEM this year. He won GSL last year. The guy is pure monster mode.
I think you have to say Rogue is probably the favorite, but upsets happen, miracles happen. And look, I think what Stats did today is really impressive. I mean, TY is the former GSL Codex champion of Season 1. And you can see that although TY had some really cool stuff planned out early on, Stats adjusted and was able to come out with a powerful closer and come out on top. And maybe he can do it here against Rogue. Our final event, guys, obviously we can't have public gatherings here. We can't have you guys come to the studio, but we can have you guys send your signs, your cheerfuls, to the email here below. They'll be reviewed. If we like them, they will be up during the show.
Yeah, send them down. We had a lot of great submissions last time. It really helped to liven up the show a little bit.
Do not forget, the submission deadline is Wednesday, 1 p.m. KST. Keep in mind, we're ahead of most time zones here.
Yeah.
So really, the deadline for you guys would be Tuesday.
No, that's very true. Unless you live in the Aleutian Islands. That's
Fiji or
something like that.
Yeah.
So guys, please do submit some cool stuff, some cool artwork, some memes, whatever you have. Send them in.
Yeah, this is, I like that we do this. I can't wait until the world's back to normal. We can finally have an audience here again.
That will be nice.
We have had no audience at all.
I doubt we'll have one for the rest of the year. People were asking me. That's my guess.
I think it could even go into next year. What? I think I'm probably right. I think it'll continue on into next
Tasis
year.
is trying to ruin esports.
Yeah, this is my idea. Even when it's all fixed, I'm like, no audience.
Yeah. Well, we'll
dude,
see.
Either way, we have a great finals coming up here. Again, do the cheerful thing. Send that in. That was a lot of fun. We loved seeing those. And maybe Stats can upset Rogue.
That would be
great. It's going to be really tough.
I can't wait to see what he brings because the one guy you know isn't going to go Glaves every game. That's Stats. If it was Zest up here, I mean, good on Zest, but he's going Glaves almost every game for sure, right?
If Zest was here, no one would be glaving harder and more in more unique ways.
Yeah.
But we have seen the beginnings, the start of a structure of PvZ that could go into late game. Maybe Stats will be able to show that to us. He's very good at planning, too.
Yeah.
And he's very good at best of sevens.
And don't forget,
he doesn't usually win, but he comes with results, and he might have been able to push that, like we saw here against TY, actually take advantage of the sheer volume of games he has to play and maybe get a win.
Absolutely. There are ways to do that. And don't forget, Rogue is like such a preparation player. He does a lot of aggressive builds, a lot of all-in builds in these series, and that's part of the reason why he is so strong. But that could play towards stats a little bit too. Like if he's just like, you have to expect Nidus every game, right?
Yeah.
I tell you, if it goes to 7 games, I bet you 4 of them Rogue goes Nidus in.
And maybe Stats loses the first few games, but then makes those adjustments,
Yeah.
just like he did against TY.
Yeah.
TY seemed to have almost nothing by the end of the series.
Yeah, he was shriveling up.
He was like a magician, but he only had like 3 tricks. And so by game 4, he's like trying to make the same quarter disappear, and he's like, it's in this hand! And then he tries to make his card disappear, and he's like, it's in this sleeve!
And it wasn't working, was it?
It wasn't working.
Stats was not buying it.
And in the last game, he goes, magic isn't real.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then TY disappeared.
Yeah.
He magically appeared
yeah.
back at the casting desk.
Yeah.
And then Stats was like, whoa, magic was real, but I
but
I made TY not believe in
he's
himself.
like, but I had the magic. It was right here. Guys, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us. We love you. We will see you next week. Stay safe. Keep washing your hands, wearing a mask, and have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are.
Called you up in the early morning light, 'cause something didn't sit right.